Well, the month of March can bring many exciting things. The start of spring break, tax season. Okay, so maybe one of those is not quite as exciting as the others, but perhaps we've just been looking at this all wrong. Our next guest, Steve Siebold, is a certified financial educator and the author of the book, How Money Works, and he joins us now. Good morning, Steve. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning, Jody.
Now, the title of your book, How Money Works, we're going to cover that in this interview, and it seems almost lofty. Can you explain how money works in just a 4-minute interview?
Well, in the macro, no, it's complicated, but in the micro, for the individual person, yes, you can. You really can. And you could break it down to 3 things that we cover in the book that are probably the 3 major things that you need to know. And that's compound interest, understanding how that works for you or against you. And the rule of 72, which is a mental math shortcut to basically determine how long it takes your money to double at a fixed interest rate, at a given interest rate. And then the time value of money, letting money grow through compound interest. If you understand those 3 things, you're well on your way to understanding how money works.
Well, this is great. And one of the things that you guys do, as you're saying, is you focus on how money works. So where would you start? What's the first piece of advice that you offer to people? What's early in the book?
Educate yourself. Educate yourself and understand the financial industry is not on your side. It's the most powerful, richest industry in the history of the world by a long shot, and they're not on your side. They capitalize on the ignorance of the general public, both in the U.S. and in Canada and around the world for that matter. So you've got to educate yourself, arm yourself, and then get help from a financial expert that can walk you through these stages so you don't get ripped off.
Well, we always hear about, being encouraged to save some money, but it's not just about the money that you have. I think a lot of us would like to get more of it. So how can we earn money without going out and getting, a side hustle?
Good question. Side hustles are fantastic. A lot of people are becoming more entrepreneurial, which is great. But if you don't want to do that, or if it doesn't fit into your life, then go to your boss at your job and say, can you give me more responsibility? I'd like more responsibility. You don't have to ask for money, just ask for more responsibility, because as someone who's employed hundreds of people in my companies all over the world, that's what we're looking for is leadership. We need to have employees take more responsibility and put more weight on their shoulders and take it off of the leader's shoulders. And that's the fastest way to get an employer to pay you more money.
Well, and I think that, in your book, you talk about some of the little things that we can do just to, mind those nickels and dimes. And I think that people assume it's going to take a lot of extra time to find savings in the places that we spend, that we're in weekly, like a grocery store. But you say that there are simple ways to make a grocery store even be somewhere where you spend less money.
Absolutely. And after studying wealthy people for almost 40 years, I will tell you, no uncertain terms, this is what wealthy people do. They're always looking. They're not only into making more money, but they're into saving money and protecting their money. And so they do things like flip coupons, even though a lot of people think, oh, rich people don't do that. Oh, yes, many of the rich do that. And they look for things like subscriptions, things you're spending money on that you may not have to spend money on, or maybe looking at how much you're spending at Starbucks or the local coffee shop. All these little things seem small, but they add up when they're all put together.
Well, the other thing, too, is, you talk about how even in your home, you might have money just sitting there that something in your home that could turn into money if you were to just be honest about whether or not you actually need it or whether you're using it.
Yeah, the average person has thousands of dollars just in clothing in the Western world, just in clothing. I mean, it's amazing when you start adding these things up. What about used computers? I mean, how many computers have you gone through? How many phones have you gone through if you haven't turned those things in? Go through your closets, go through your attic, go through your basement, and put these things online. It's easier than ever to do that. And even if you make a couple $100s per item, that can add up to be a great savings and also an investment vehicle.
Very good. Steve, these are all great tips and so much more within the book. If folks would like to learn more, they can head to howmoneyworks.com. Thank you for inspiring us so early in the morning.
Thanks, Jody.